Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Feel It to Heal It podcast. I'm about to hop on Instagram Live to record this on there too. And today we're going to be talking all about intuition and trusting the universe. Trusting your intuition and the universe is what we're going to call it. Oh, wow. Look at that. 222 followers active now. Angel numbers galore. All right, let's do it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Tea Live. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Whether you are watching this on Instagram, listening to it on the pod, or YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. We got our merch, Regulated Queen mug. My mugs have been my best sellers of the merch store lately. So if you haven't gotten yours, go check it out. And my hot water was out. So I'm having turmeric ginger almond milk iced tea today, which is good, but I do prefer hot. So probably going to heat this up after. Anywho, today we're going to be talking about trusting your intuition and the universe. So, oh my goodness. The last, let's see, 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks have tested me beyond belief. And the ability to get still with my intuition and to communicate with the universe on a whole other level has been really mind-blowing. And those who are used to like connecting with the universe and your angels and your spirit team up there, like, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's just like your norm at this point, but for those that are not familiar with that, when you really start to process, or let's say you've gotten to a point where you've processed your trauma to enough of an extent where you feel safer to trust your intuition. And then you start communicating with the universe on a whole other level. Like, it really is just such a magical, wild roller coaster, like an emotional roller coaster. So the past 2 weeks, there have been really big decisions that I've had to make. And the last episode I did was about how August was really just such a beautiful, abundant momentum month. And then I caught my nervous system going into this familiar pattern of self-sabotage, and we caught it early. So I stopped self-sabotaging and I really landed back into safety and grounding. And as soon as I did, I just got all of this clarity, as we do. We get clarity when we get still. We get clarity when we stop running away from ourselves. We get clarity when we stop trying to self-sabotage and go back to the old behaviors. So I got clarity around something that I am still figuring out how or when I'll share, but it's something around my business that has shifted, and it felt so clear. And the reason why it felt so clear was because as soon as I hit truth around it, there was a lot of emotion that came up. And the thing is when we have resistance around something, there's 2 types of resistance. The first type of resistance is this actually isn't in alignment, and so I'm having resistance because the resistance is communicating something. Or there's a resistance of this is in alignment, but it brings up a lot of fear and emotion and pain and sadness, and so my body's trying to protect me from feeling that, and so it's going to resist the emotion that truth brings up. But the thing is when you land in truth, when you land in something that just lands in your body and speaks to your intuition, and your intuition feels really clear around it, doesn't mean it's going to be pain-free. Oftentimes it can come with so many different emotions. And so I had made that decision. I had processed a lot of the emotion around it. It felt really clear. And it was really the first time probably ever in my life that I had, well, maybe that's not true. I was going to say that I had landed in clarity and made the action step and made the decision so quickly, but I've done that before in my life, but I didn't necessarily feel safe to do that. It came with a lot of anxiety and frenetic energy. And with this time, although there was still fear and there was still this level of needing to trust myself, I felt safer doing it than I ever had before. I felt more confident doing it than I ever had before. So that was all really just like wild and eye-opening and beautiful and painful and all the emotions. And then right after that, I got this what felt like an intuitive hit um to make this other decision. I know I'm being very vague. I'm not ready to share the actual things yet because I'm still in it, but um that felt a little bit less clear of like, okay, is this a self-sabotage thing? Is this a trauma response coming up again? Or is it actually my intuition? And so I really sat with it and I was like, okay, I know the difference in my body when I'm running away from myself, when I'm engaging in all the addictions. That is always how I know that I'm trying to self-sabotage or that I'm running away from myself is I stay busy, I don't get still, I turn to the food or the phone or the TV or the guy or the whatever it is to find something outside of myself. Now, with both of these examples, there was a lot of getting still and a lot of grounding and a lot of calm and a lot of signs from the universe. And so many signs from the universe. Like I've never received so many signs from the universe about anything before. And it's been such a wild experience. Like I literally will say out loud, God, angels, universe, please give me clarity or confirmation about this. And then I'll receive like 3 different signs that are just so obvious. And yet the human part of me is like, oh, but is that actually true? Or like it's still learning how to trust what's intuition versus what is a trauma response. And then the other part of this is even if something feels calm and intuitive, which I've really gotten to the place after a lot of sitting with stillness that this current decision that I'm in doesn't feel like the same as it did with a trauma response. It truly feels like the universe is screaming at me and I'm just like confused. Like, why are you telling me to do this? And I'm like arguing with it a little bit. But it's not looking the way that I thought it would. And so I told the universe, well, if it looks this way, I'm going to take that as a sign that it's a no. And if it looks this way, I'm going to take it as a sign that it's a yes. And it gave me the sign that it's a no after all the signs that it was a yes. So I was like, okay, universe, so I'm not going to do it because you're not being clear with me. And it's just come with so many emotions where there's been emotions of excitement, there's been emotions of fear, there's been emotions of sadness, which has been really interesting. And it's been an invitation of really getting curious around why am I sad about this mixed signal that I'm getting? And one, like when you are making a decision about something that you desire, if it looks like it's not happening and you get sad about it, it makes you clear that it's something you actually desire. Or if it's a trauma response, it could be that you feel sad because the universe is not allowing you to avoid yourself or to run away from something that you're trying to avoid. And so then it's just this like redirection of like, no, focus on the thing that you're running away from. So, how do we tell when something is intuition versus trauma? Intuition, and this is what I'm going to be going deep dive into with Authenticity Unleashed of how do you actually know if a decision is authentic and in alignment versus coming from attachment, from your inner child, from your trauma. So I'm going to be going deeper into that in the course. And if you haven't joined yet, you should totally join us. We're starting module 1 on September 24th. You can join just the course itself for only $222. And then if you want to upgrade to tier 2, where we do 6 group coaching calls, you can upgrade for a total of $777. So anyway, how do you know if it's intuition versus fear and trauma? Intuition is going to be calm. So when I made this past decision last week, calm doesn't mean that you're not going to have emotion. People get that so twisted. They're like, oh, well, I felt fear, so that means it's not calm. Calm can come with a lot of pain. And when I was a DBT therapist, I would teach radical acceptance skills. And part of the acceptance phase was that when you accept something, it is going to come with emotion. So when you feel calm, when you feel accepting of what is, it's going to come with emotion. Having emotion is different than not feeling calm. So for example, before I made the decision, I was very much in my head. I wasn't sleeping. I was ruminating. I was feeling ungrounded. I was scared. That was not intuition. That was the fear coming up around the intuition of what I knew to be true. So that's why this gets tricky, because there's layers to it. It's like the core intuition calm is like the core of the onion, but then there are layers that you have to move through to get to that core truth. And so I had reached the core truth, but it felt so scary to actually accept that truth that my body then went into trauma response of overthinking, overanalyzing, not trusting myself, second guessing what I thought to be true. And then after processing with one of my my healing soul sisters, she reflected back everything that I'd been feeling, and she was like, you are safe to trust this. And I said, it just feels like one of those things where it's so crazy that it doesn't feel safe to trust, but it is. And so I just kept getting still, and I kept breathing with the fear. And after I would move through fear, I would land in stillness. I would land back home to the truth. And that was the calm truth that kept showing up. And so when we have a calm knowing that underneath all the layers, and this is why you have to get still over and over and over again, when you have to move through those layers and you get to the core truth, that is what you want to follow. So again, when you're listening to your intuition, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have protectors come up. The protectors come up because your nervous system doesn't feel safe to fully trust your knowing. But the actual knowing, the actual truth, the actual intuition, that is calm, even if it takes some moving through layers of not calm to get to the calm. Does that make sense? So let me know how that lands for you. And when something's coming from trauma, so for example, when I was telling you guys last week how I was more in that self-sabotage mode, there was no calm. The behaviors I was engaging in, like downloading Hinge, talking to these men, what else was I doing? Just staying busy, whatever I was doing. There was no calm in that. So you see, with truth and intuition, it's calm, and then you work through the layers of not calm, and it always brings you back to the calm. And what does calm feel like? It feels like you're able to get still in your body. You're able to move through the fear. And after moving through the fear, there's just this knowing of like, yes, this feels right, or yes, this feels in alignment. And you may not know why. You may not know what the universe has in store for you. Like what I'm currently moving through right now, I'm still continuously getting still and trying to understand, like, why am I getting all these signs? Why am I feeling this calm knowing, even though logically it doesn't necessarily make sense? And maybe the universe is using this to guide me to a whole different thing, right? It's like we have no clue. The universe works in perfect, divine, mysterious, magical ways, and it's not our job to figure out the how. It's not our job to figure out the what or why. It's our job to get still and to literally trust in the process, to release control around the timing, to release control around the need to know of like, well, I need to know why the signs are coming. I will know when I'm meant to know. But until I know, all I'm to do is to come back to trust, to come back to this present moment, because this present moment is what I do know. What I know is that I am currently in this present moment. And what I know is I'm safe in this present moment. And what I know is that I have things to focus on in this present moment. And what I know is that the universe will always work it out. So in your brain, it gets stuck on timing of like, but it's supposed to happen here, or like, I'm rushed because I'm supposed to let this person know by this date, but it's this date. Time doesn't exist. Time is a man-made construct. And yes, in our human 3D world, we use time to operate and create systems and function. Yes, I acknowledge that and I understand that. But there is no time constraint that is bigger than the divine timing of the universe. And it took me so long to feel safe to trust this, but when I gained evidence by it, by the universe showing me time and time and time and time again, that it doesn't fucking matter what timeline I want, the universe will always come in with the right timing. It allowed me to sit back and just trust and not have to control or force or work so hard, which is so much more enjoyable. Like to be able to be in this place, because I used to be someone that like I would just constantly chase the next high because I didn't feel safe to just be in this present moment. And so again, that was part of what I was getting honest about, is like, is this me just chasing a high? But then when I was able to get back to this place of like, I'm okay either way. I'm okay if this thing happens. I'm okay if it doesn't happen. I'm okay to just be in this present moment. I'm okay to trust. When I kept coming back to that place of like, I'm actually not attached to any outcome. I genuinely just want whatever the universe wants for me and whatever is for the highest good of all involved and whatever is meant to be. I knew that it wasn't me just chasing a high. I knew that it was me just discerning, okay, what are you communicating, universe? Like, what do you want me to do? What is my intuition saying around this? And sometimes it's not clear right away, and that's okay. Sometimes we need to just slow down, get still, and trust in perfect divine timing, and know that there will be a reason later on. There will be clarification later on of, oh, that's why I wasn't supposed to do that thing, or that's why I was supposed to do that thing. And I can already see this whole divine orchestration happening with these changes that are happening. Like the universe has made it very clear that I've entered a new chapter. Now I have some ideas of what that new chapter could look like, but that's not my job to figure out. I literally get to be like, again, my favorite analogy, the universe is trying to throw you a surprise party and you're trying to ruin the surprise by figuring out what the surprise is. My favorite practice, now that I feel safe to do this because of processing my trauma and rewiring my nervous system out of survival mode, is I get to just be in the receiving end of staying grounded, staying connected to myself, staying present, staying focused on what is in my power, getting still and listening to those intuitive hits, taking action when it feels aligned to take action, but not a moment sooner. So this is very interesting because with last week's occurrence, I actually wanted to prolong the action because I was feeling scared, but I knew that there was no reason to prolong the action. So I took the action because that was the aligned choice. With this current week's adventure that the universe has put me on, there was a tendency to act sooner than actually is in alignment. It's not actually in alignment to act on anything right now because I don't have enough clarity or information. So that's the other part of building this trust, this self-trust with God, the universe, your angels, you, and your intuition, is not acting before you feel clear. And then on the other end, not waiting to act when you do feel clear. because of fear. So if you feel clear about something and you're waiting to act on it, even though you know it's in alignment and you know you need to just do it, even if you feel scared, you need to do it scared, that is your trauma taking over, and that's not you listening to your intuition. In other scenarios, if you're not feeling clear, like where I'm currently at in this present moment, I'm not fully clear yet because I'm still receiving information. I'm still sitting back and allowing things to unfold as they're meant to, and staying connected to trust. The old me would have acted impulsively because I would have just wanted to know. I would have just wanted to be in the known. But that's not actually going to allow you to get further into authentic alignment. When you are forcing things before you're ready to act, that is delaying everything you desire. It's like taking what's the word when you're driving, a detour, like an unaligned detour, because you're not learning the lesson and you're just forcing things before you're ready to actually know, or before you're ready to act. Or if you're ready to act and you're just delaying it, you're also delaying your timeline. So this is the powerful part of processing stored trauma, because trauma disconnects us from our intuition. Trauma disconnects us from the present moment. Trauma disconnects us from ourselves because we're in a trauma state rather than a calm, grounded, connected place. So if you have trouble trusting your intuition, or you don't even know what the fuck your intuition is, or you don't even know what that feels like I'm at the point in my healing journey where I can feel what my intuition feels like, and I can feel what my trauma responses feel like. And if you're not at a place where you can clearly identify those, that means that there is some trauma stored in your body that every single person has to process, not just you, not just me, the human experience, the experience of being human. We all have trauma to process out of our bodies. And how do you do that? You start by getting still and being with the emotion that comes up in each present moment. And if you don't feel safe to do that, that is what I'm here for. I'm here to be that safe, grounded nervous system, to hold you in a safe relational container, to be with you as you are processing through that emotion, because our nervous systems won't feel safe to do that alone until we've had that co-regulation. Co-regulation leads to self-regulation. So if you are ready to process that trauma so that you can actually get to know what a calm, intuitive feeling actually feels like, and not just make choices and create your life off of unprocessed trauma and an inner child unconsciously running the show, that is what this work is for. It is literally designed to guide you home to your most authentic self. Your most authentic self is going to look different than my most authentic self. Your most aligned choices are going to look different than my aligned choices. Maybe you want to live in the mountains and I want to live in the ocean, or maybe you want to get married, or maybe you don't, or maybe someone wants a dog and someone wants a baby, or maybe, you want a simple life and someone wants a big life. Like, stop looking at other people. I have this foot massager underneath my desk, and I accidentally pressed it on, and it terrifies my dog. Like, it literally scares him so badly. So I don't use it while he's here, and I accidentally just touched the thing. Come here, baby. Come here, honey. You okay? You want to come say hi? He gets very scared, but he's okay now. Okay. So what was I saying? I was saying that, yeah, if it doesn't feel clear, then that is literally what this work is to process that stored pain in your body so that you can access that clear intuition. So if you're someone that is constantly outsourcing your decision making, like I used to do, I would literally text 5,000 people, what color shirt should I buy? What should I eat for dinner? I couldn't make decisions. I literally was so indecisive. And it was debilitating. It was so debilitating to the point where I literally couldn't go shopping without asking someone, like even strangers in the store, well, what do you like better? What do you like better? I mean, God, it's like so funny and also sad to think about. because I could not trust myself. I could not get still enough to listen to what I wanted. So I would ask everyone, literally everyone. When I would go out to eat, I would sometimes order two things because I literally could not decide. And whatever I ordered, I would then think about the other thing. Like, this is how intense it was. I would, let's say I wanted a salad and a sandwich. I would order both because if I ordered just a sandwich, I would be thinking about that salad. Damn, what if I should have ordered the salad? Or, I order a couch and I have to choose between which color. Damn, what would the other color would have looked like? And what does this do? It disconnects you from being able to enjoy what you actually have right in front of you. And so the root of that indecisiveness was not trusting myself because I was the baby of the family. I never learned how to trust my decisions. I learned that it was safer to follow the lead of my older siblings, of my parents, of my friends. I never developed a full sense of self and connection to my intuition. And so it's this protector of, like, when you're enjoying the yellow couch, it's this protector of, like, but what if you're not enjoying the blue couch? Which seems so trivial and silly because it is. It actually is silly. So that's why it seems that way. But it makes sense on a nervous system level that if your body's in survival mode, your body's going to be in survival mode in all the different areas, even the shit that literally doesn't matter, because its job is to protect you. So if it's constantly bickering in your head, like, what about this? Or you didn't try this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, what's the threat? The threat of not trying the salad or the blue couch or the yellow shirt is that you can't trust yourself, that you made the wrong decision. And it represents something more deeply, because if you make the wrong decision with a clothing option or a food choice, then your nervous system's like, what if you make a wrong decision with something that actually affects your safety? So even though it seems trivial, there's always a deeper root that relates back to safety. And so we can look at how do you get from that decision paralysis? I was literally talking to a client about this the other day, where she was like, I flip coins to make decisions. And I was like, girl, we have some work to do. Now, listen, if it's something silly and you literally give no shits about it and you just need to decide, like, do we order pizza or Chinese? Okay, flip a coin, whatever. But, like, you don't want to have to use that to actually create your life. You don't want to leave your life creation up to a coin. You want to be able to connect home to your intuition. There's nothing more valuable than being able to feel safe, to get still, to actually get to know what your intuition feels like. I never ever knew what my intuition felt like. Or even when I did and I would act on it, I wouldn't feel safe to trust it, because there were so many protectors and trauma responses wrapped up in it. It was like spaghetti. So my intuition was in there, but it was just like, blah, 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 and it was very wrapped up in it. So this is what we're going to be diving deep into with my newest program, Authenticity Unleashed. We're starting module 1, September 24th. I'll be recording all the modules live, and then after that, it will be sold as a self-paced course. So if you want to get in that potent live energy, it is currently on the beta round sale for $222. So this is the lowest that it will ever be. 5 modules, journal prompts, integration homework. I will teach you how to listen to your intuition, but more importantly, I am going to help you process that stored trauma so that you can actually feel safe to listen to your intuition. It's one thing to get to know what your intuition feels like. It's a whole other ball game to actually feel safe to listen to it, rather than second guessing, staying in your head. Like, the way that I'm moving through these 2 decisions right now, I'm blowing my own mind. Like, that's not even an exaggeration. Like, there are moments where I'm like, I don't even know this version of me. Like, this version of me is so much more enjoyable, so much more in trust, so much more able to surrender, so much more able to release control and the need to know. And not only able to do that, but I genuinely feel excited. I feel like, oh, it's okay not to know. I get to just sit back and do my part, but see how it all unfolds. And the fact that the universe has been screaming at me this week, I'm like, okay, I'm listening, but I still don't feel clear yet. And so I'm excited to see what you've been screaming at me about. Is it the thing I think it might be, or is it something completely different? And my ability to be non-attached. When you embark on a spiritual journey, people think spirituality is being non-attached, meaning you don't give a shit. Being non-attached does not mean you don't give a shit. You are a human being with feelings. You are going to give a shit. Let's hope. If not, you're repressing a lot of shit. Non-attachment means being able to feel so deeply connected to yourself that you are not attaching on to external, changing, ever evolving circumstances for your sense of safety. It is being able to feel connected to yourself and others and the universe and God and whatever you believe. It's about connection. Connection is not attachment. Attachment is, oh, attachment is how I used to live my life. Oh, I need to stay at this job because I need to put a year on my resume. I can't leave before a year, but I did because I listened to my intuition and I needed to get the fuck out of there. And I only made it 8 months. And my ego, oh, you're so cute, honey. Oh my God, do you guys see this? So cute. Oh my God, he's a baby. Are you so cute, honey? Are you distracting mommy with your cuteness? I literally can't. He's so cute. I could cry. I swear to God, I love this boy. Yeah, it's like, oh, I need to stay in this relationship because I need to make it 2 years, or oh, I need to get married by 30 so I can make it. What are you trying to make? Like, it's so insane when we really think about how we attach to these timelines. I used to be that person that would be like, well, I need to have kids before my biological clock. Like, the universe is bigger than your biological clock. The universe's perfect divine timing is bigger than your plans, your timeline, I need to get a job or a home, or I'm, 36 and I've never owned a home. Who gives a fuck? What do you want? What feels in alignment for you? Stop trying to live by this made up, literally made up timeline that society has constructed and advertised. Why do you think society wants all of us married with kids by the age of 30 living in homes? There could be many reasons. It's not about you living in alignment with your true authenticity, unless that's actually authentic. But how do you know if that's actually authentic if you haven't even gotten to know yourself or process your trauma? You can't know who you actually are until you have stopped living through an activated, terrified inner child who needs a lot of tending to. You can't make aligned decisions, or at least feel safe to make aligned decisions. You might make the aligned decision, but then you might be living in your head over analyzing it, or you might have the courage to break up with that person you need to break up with, but it might take you twice as long as it needs to. That was me. I had a relationship that lasted 2 years, and I probably could have ended it after 1 year. I probably maybe wouldn't have even started it. The amount of decisions we make based on safety and attachment are unmatched. And I know this might feel scary or hard to hear because you're like, well, I've built this whole life. Non-attachment is being able to let it all go because your safety is not outside of yourself. Like, my ability to make decisions and move and like break up and date and do that, like, it's just flowing because I am the safety. I am the anchor of safety. That relationship's not the anchor of safety. The job's not the anchor of safety. The client is not the anchor of safety. The house is not the anchor of safety. The car is not the anchor of safety. I am the anchor of safety. And so we have to stop attaching on to all of these different things outside of ourselves as I need to hold on to this. change is inevitable. Change is beautiful. Change like allows us to be this anchor that just flows. Like I am in full flow, like, and I'm telling you, as someone who used to not live in flow, who used to control and grasp and attach, and I would attach on to everything. Oh, this new friend, oh, she's my safety. Oh, this new boyfriend, oh, he's my safety. Oh, this job, it's familiar. I just gotta, oh, like I was literally like a magnet, but not magnetizing, but like like being a magnet to everything outside of myself because I was just trying to feel safe. This is what building internal safety is all about. When you process the stored pain that your nervous system registers as a threat and you show it that it's not a threat and you actually feel safe to feel your feelings and feel it to heal it, you no longer have to run outside of yourself and you set yourself fucking free. And this is what I've experienced. This is what my clients experience. This is what people who work with me and within one session experience. It's not about talking about your feelings. It's about feeling your feelings and creating energetic space for everything that you desire and understanding that once you receive what you desire, that thing could then move on to something different. That's what I'm currently experiencing. I am sitting with this information that's something that I had manifested for so long and I finally have it and I've enjoyed it and I've loved it and I've enjoyed every minute of it. The universe might be communicating, okay, it's time to move on to something else now. And I'm like, wait, but I manifested this. I wanted this so badly. I want to just hold on to it forever. But that's attachment. And the universe is like trying to give me an upgrade and trying to work its divine plan. And so your job is to get the fuck out of the way. And if you don't feel safe to do that, it's time to hire me to do this work because you have unprocessed trauma in your body that is literally creating your life. And you have to decide, do you want to be a victim to your trauma, creating your life unconsciously, where you think you're making aligned decisions, but you're actually making decisions based off of trauma and just trying to feel that sense of perceived safety, which is not even real safety. That partner that you think is keeping you safe, it's not actual safety. No one can keep you safe outside of yourself. That job that you think is so secure, that house that you think is going to be yours forever, nothing is guaranteed. And the sooner that you can feel safe to accept that, the sooner you allow your life to just flow in the most magical, abundant, expansive, freeing ways. And I want that for each and every one of you. I want you to be able to experience what it's like to make decisions off of power and trust and intuition and self-connection. These two decisions that I've been making, I've been very intentional about who I've talked to about them because the old me would have wanted everyone's opinion, boop, 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 and it would have clouded my opinion. And you know what's so funny is my family used to get annoyed because I would ask them their opinion and I already knew what I wanted to do. So I would ask them their opinion and I would do the opposite. And they'd be like, well, why are you asking us if you don't actually want our opinion? And that's a very valid question. And so now I don't ask them and I just fucking trust myself. And sometimes I'll fuck up and realize, oh shit, that was actually trauma. That wasn't my intuition. And either way, you're still safe. Either way, even if you make a decision that you're like, fuck, that was totally not intuition. That was trauma and it was blurry and it was confusing. You make the best decision that you make in that moment. And sometimes the universe has us make decisions based off of trauma because they're learning in that. So it's not about being perfect. It's about getting to know your intuition better and better and actually being able to communicate with the universe where you don't feel like you have to do it all on your own because you don't. You literally have like these powerful spiritual magnetic forces behind you. You have all these guardian angels working with you. That's literally their purpose, is to support us on earth. So when you get to communicate with them in a way that feels so nurturing and supportive and comforting of like, wait, I'm safe to release this control because I don't actually have to do this all on my own. It's literally the most freeing feeling in the world. As someone who used to grasp onto control because I thought it was all up to me. And so that put so much pressure on me of like, I got to make the right decisions. I gotta, make the right choices because this is my life and it's up to me. Yes, it's up to you, but you don't have to do it all alone. You are so deeply supported. And when you tap into that support and you tap into your connection with God, with the universe, whatever you want to call it, you feel so much safer to release that control, and life just gets to be so much more enjoyable. So if you want to learn how to process that trauma, connect home to your intuition, and create a life that's actually based on authenticity. You don't even know who you are. You might think, oh, I'm just an anxious person. Oh, I'm just a neat freak. Oh, that's just me. I'm just an introvert. We love to label all these things, but you're actually none of those things. You're actually just you. You're not actually any of your symptoms. And that's what's so mind-blowing is we live based on an identity that's created from symptoms. Oh, I'm the sick girl. I'm the anxious girl. I'm the, person who's just high on life. All to realize that that was just me chasing highs because I didn't feel safe to be still in this present moment. Or the things we do know that are authentic. Oh, I'm an emotionally intelligent person. Oh, I'm a grounded person. You don't feel safe to embody because your trauma responses are taking over. So I could know that I'm the most grounded person in the world, and yet I'm dysregulated all the time because that's my trauma. So this work has been allowing me to connect to my actual authentic self, not based on ego, not based on my other people's perceptions of me. That was a big one. Oh, well, people think I'm this emotionally sound person, so I must be. Well, yeah, but they don't see that when I get in a relationship, my anxious attachment gets triggered beyond belief and I'm running around like a fucking 2-year-old, right? So, like, it doesn't actually matter what you know, it matters what you are safe to embody. And if you don't feel safe to embody, meaning embody in your body, feeling it in your body, not living in your mind, living through feeling. We are sentient beings. If you don't feel safe to do that, it's because you're not actually there's trauma blocking you from actually being able to live through that authenticity. So Authenticity Unleashed is both. It's both. It's helping you feel safe to embody what you know to be true. Well, Rachel, I know that I'm, really wise, and yet I can't embody my wisdom and show up online for my business. Well, I know that I'm, a natural caretaker, but I keep confusing that for codependency, right? It's like, well, I know that I'm just a sensitive person, but are you a sensitive person, or is your nervous system just stuck in a dysregulated state? You might not actually be a sensitive person. For me, I used to think I could never speak this directly. I was a people pleaser. I would be terrified of what people would think. I would never be able to call people out. My actual authenticity, I'm a fifth line in human design. I'm meant to be the trigger. I'm meant to be a leader. A leader triggers people. And you can decide if that triggers you into activation, into expansion, into healing, or if it triggers you in a way where you're not going to look at your shit and then you're the only one that suffers from that. Like if 3 years ago, that version of me heard me speaking in this present moment, I would have probably hid under the blanket and never come out. I would have been terrified. But now this feels completely natural to speak so directly, to call people out on their shit, to be that clear mirror for people. Because I'm speaking from my heart, I'm speaking from my body, I'm not speaking from my overthinking mind or my terrified inner child. I'm speaking from my soul, from my wisdom. And I now feel safe to actually embody that. Whereas before I did not. So anything that you think, and you guys can throw in the comments like, oh, am I actually this or this? Do I think I'm this person? Or, oh, I always thought I was this person. I always thought I was a vegetarian. I always thought that I right? It's like, we don't actually know. So Authenticity Unleashed is going to do two things. One, the things that you do know to be true. I am really wise. I am really emotionally intelligent. I am really grounded. I am really creative, but somehow I'm not feeling safe to create. We're going to help you feel safe to actually embody the things you know to be true. And then we're going to release all of the things that you thought were authentic that are not actually authentic. So sensitive, that was one that also I very much relate to. And my mentor would even tell me, well, I want to be able to tell you these things, but you're so sensitive sometimes. And I'm like, I am, because that was my trauma. My trauma made me this very, like, people would have to walk on eggshells. They couldn't say anything because they would trigger me. And now I can hear the hardest things in the world and I feel safe to hear them. Now my coach literally tells me to fuck off sometimes. Now she tells me literally just so bluntly how things are, like, you're self-sabotaging, stay fucking focused, da 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 da. Whereas before she would have never been able to speak to me that way. I was like, oh, oh, oh. And then my fear of abandonment was so strong, like, oh my God, she thinks I'm sensitive. So is she gonna abandon me? And now I feel so fucking grounded and in my body that I'm like, oh, you can tell me anything. And if something comes up, I know how to move through that. And that's feeling safe to be with everything. Lindsay says overthinker. Yeah. Overthinking. Oh my God, this is one of my biggest ones. Overthinking is never authentic. Let me just tell you that. Never, ever, ever your authentic self. Our authentic selves are never overthinking. Overthinking is always a protector. As an authentic self, you might think about something because we have brilliant brains. Of course, we're going to think. But overthinking is a protector against actually feeling stored fear or whatever the emotion is in your body. So let's say you do something that brings you a lot of shame and you're like, I just feel so much shame around this. And your body's trying to avoid that shame because it's not conscious, but your nervous system is trying to avoid that shame. And so you start overthinking, well, maybe it wasn't so bad that I said that, or maybe this is just her problem, or maybe she's just being sensitive, right? We overthink because we're avoiding shame. Or let's say we have to make a decision and we overthink and we're like, oh my God, what is that? And why does this mean? And why did the universe say this? And what about this? And that is a protector against truly feeling safe to be with fear and trust. So when I notice overthinking come up, I'm like, okay, this isn't actually helping anything. Guys, it's so hot, so sweaty. That's part of what I'm manifesting is air conditioning. So anyway, when we're overthinking, we get still, we notice that there's fear there, and the brain convinces us that if we just think about it a little bit more, we'll figure it out. But actually, the answers that you're looking for by overthinking is in stillness. So every time you notice yourself overthinking, notice, label it as protector, boop, refocus in body, breathe, get still, take 3 to 5 deep breaths, hands on body, breathe deeply, feel the fear and get still. And it's going to feel hard at first. It's going to feel hard at first. That's okay. It will get easier the more you do it. Right. So you're super intuitive and then you second guess and overthink. Yep, exactly. So remember, that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the onion with the core. The core is the calm, intuitive knowing. The overthinking is the layer of protectors that show up when we've hit truth. So you being super intuitive is your authentic self. You have this deep intuition, but then, and that feels calm. And that's how you know it's intuition, is it feels calm. But then the brain is like, but that doesn't make sense. That's crazy. How could you think that? Or how could you think that that's the right choice? Or whatever the fuck it goes on in these crazy brains of ours. And then we overthink as a protector because we don't trust that. And then once you get out of the brain and back into the body, if it comes back to this again, that same knowing, it's intuition. And then the only way to build trust around that is to feel the fear and trust that anyway. So whatever that looks like, whether that looks like making a scary move, trusting a decision, taking an aligned action, showing up, doing whatever it is, you do that. And then you're like, wait, I didn't die. I can trust my intuition. Or wait, I trusted my intuition and this thing happened afterwards. Boom, I can trust myself. That's how we build self-trust. This decision I made last week, fucking terrifying, but I did it. And it was confirmed that it was the right decision in so many different ways. And so I was like, wait, I can trust myself, right? So every moment we do that, we move through the layers of overthinking fear, get back to the core and act from this place. You don't make the decision when you're in this space. You make the decision when you're in this space. Before you get back to this space, you make it. Because if not, you're just going to be going like this, boop, 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 and you're going to be driving yourself and probably everyone else around you fucking crazy. And so if you can just stay connected to this, and every time your mind wanders, nope, breathe, come back to this, and then you act from this being your core, calm, center, truth, intuition. All right, my love bugs, if you want to dive deeper into this, come join me in Authenticity Unleashed. It's only $222 for 5 modules in a private Facebook group. I'll be going live. I will be teaching you everything I know about actually getting to know your most authentic self. This has been over 3 years in the making for me. And speaking of intuition, I knew that it was not time. I had come up with this course over a year ago, and I knew it was not the right time because I knew that I still was getting to know my most authentic self and had more shedding to do, more shedding to do, more shedding to do. 2024 has been the year of the most shedding. Like, I am basically naked because there's barely anything left to shed. I've shed the most you could possibly think of shedding. And it's time. Now I've landed on the other side of like, oh, I actually know who I am now. And it's the greatest feeling in the world. It starts, so module 1 will be September 24th at, I think that day we're doing 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. But if you can't make it live, you will get all the replays and you will have this course forever. And then there's still 2 spots left if you want to upgrade to tier 2, which is you get 6 group coaching processing calls. So you're taking what you're learning in the modules, and then you get me with your nervous system helping you actually process that stored pain and integrating everything that you're learning. So you can hop into whatever feels most aligned. Tier 1 is you get just the course and the actual live modules that you can attend live in the Facebook group. We start September 24th, and then it'll be for 5 modules after that. If you join tier 2, you get 6 calls, and that will be going through all of October, ending on November 1st. So DM me if you want to learn more. I will send you the link. I would love to have you. And I mean, this is going to be the lowest price it will ever be, like $222 to literally learn how to meet your authentic self and trust your intuition. Forget about it. Forget about it. Come join. Don't overthink it. Use this as an opportunity. When I say this and I give you this invitation, use this as an opportunity. What feels calm? Is it a calm no? Because then I want you to honor that. I don't want people in my programs just because I want them in my programs. I want them in my programs if it's a calm fuck yes. And a fuck yes in your body is a perfect example that there can be emotion with the calm. You might feel calm in your knowing of like, yes, I want to join you in this, but there might be excitement or there might be fear or there might be some emotion, but you still have that calm knowing of fuck yes, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to process my trauma. I'm ready to meet my authentic self and stop relating from my activated inner child, my protectors, my triggers. I'm also doing a full module on just triggers alone. So if you're someone that gets triggered and it takes you out, you have no idea how to move through it, you project on your partner, you shut down, you hide at home, whatever it is, I'm going to literally show you my step-by-step guide on how to move through triggers to get to truth. So again, core truth, trigger. We're going to move through the trigger, use it for your growth to get to what did this trigger teach me? Triggers are the most powerful catalysts of healing. And when people placate to triggers of like, oh, don't do this thing if it's going to trigger you. Oh, don't go do that thing. For example, oh, perfect timing, Al. My brother just joined. Perfect timing. I'm going to give you guys an example. I have a historical past life trigger of my tarantula fear. For those that know, you know, I have a very deep wounded trigger of fear of tarantulas. Ugh. Just saying it sometimes makes my body respond. And the old me would have never, ever considered traveling or let alone moving to a place where they live. And I now live in California where they are. And I'm planning a trip with my brother to Sedona, Arizona, or we were thinking about Utah too. Both are desert options. Now, the old me would have said, well, if God forbid I see one, that trigger would ruin the whole trip, so I'm not going to go. But that's me avoiding triggers. Or let's say I go home for the holidays and we all get triggered by family. Oh, I'm not going to go see my family because I'm going to get triggered. That's you avoiding the trigger. Or, oh, if I don't drink at this social event, my anxiety is going to get triggered. That's you avoiding the trigger by the alcohol or whatever the thing is. So we can't avoid the trigger because the trigger is literally the thing that's going to help us heal the root of the trigger. That's literally the whole point. So if I'm meant to go to this desert and God's like, you're ready to heal this tarantula past life trauma. I was killed by a tarantula, which I know doesn't make sense in this lifetime because they can't kill you in this lifetime, but it was like an ancestral version. And I was killed at age 12 in the desert. And my coach, who was my twin in a past lifetime, she found me and it was very traumatic. Anyway, that lives in my body. And I know that might sound fucking insane to you, but it lives in my body. I feel that. And so if God thinks I'm ready to heal that, then I'm going and I'm putting on my big girl pants and I'm facing the fear. That's what I did when I went to Joshua Tree for the first time for my 30th birthday. I walked out into the desert and I was like, tarantulas, I come in peace. I'm here. And I started looking around for them because I was like ready to see one and I didn't. But this is the thing is that I'm going to see one when I least expect it. And yes, that idea fucking terrifies me. But we are not here to live through fear. We are here to actually heal the things that we have come to this earth to heal. So in the module all about triggers, I'm going, what did I name that one? Triggers to truth. We are going to learn how to move through triggers and access that core truth. And then same thing for module 4 or module 2, which is protectors to power. How can you release control, release those protectors to then get to your most powerful, authentic self? And then we have a module all about grief, like grieving, releasing all that's not you. There was a lot of grief of like, wow, I always thought I was this person, but turns out that was my fear running the show. It like it can be so deeply sad and painful to recognize the ways in which we've abandoned ourselves, the ways in which we have not treated ourselves well, the ways in which we have consumed things in our bodies based on comfort rather than authenticity, the ways in which we've stayed in relationships that are not in alignment or chasing relationships that are not in alignment. It's so like when you see it, you can't unsee it. And it can be a lot to see, which is why I'm going to be there with you so that as emotions come up, I am there with you and I'm co-regulating with you. And then what else? We have module 1, meet your authentic self, protectors to power, triggers to truth, releasing all that is not you. And then module 5 is the authentic you. Who are you without your anxiety? Who are you without your depression? Who are you without your drinking? Who are you without your overeating sugar? Who are you without overthinking? Who are you without obsessing and fantasizing? Who are you without staying busy all the time? That is your authentic self. Who are you without control? Who are you without needing to know everything? Who are you without judging, comparison, ruminating, overthinking? Like, who are you without binging TV every night? Who are you without drinking every day? Who are you without dating all the time? Like, who are you without all of these addictions, without all of these protectors, without over explaining, without all these trauma responses? That is your authentic self. And that is who we're going to uncover in this program. And it's everything. Like I literally was divinely guided to go through everything I've been through this year to land on the other side, which is me being connected to my most authentic self in a way that I've never before. And only to realize that so much of how I was relating was my inner child and was not actually authentic at all. Like I'm actually a really fucking powerful, wise, grounded person. And I was so emotionally dysregulated my whole life that I never got to actually embody that. And so this is going to help you embody who you came here to be on this earth. And I'm so excited for it. So if you're ready to join me, DM me. I will send you the link to join. We have tier 1, which is just the course for 222, the lowest this course will ever be. And we have payment plans available. And then tier 2, if you want to join the 6 live group processing calls, we have 6 women in there already. I'm capping it off at 8. And the 6 women in there already are a blend of my past clients, my current clients, and brand new clients. And it's like the most epic special group I've ever actually had in all of my business. Like it's unreal. So I'm so excited. So let me know if you guys would love to join. I would love to have you. You're most welcome. Thank you guys for joining, and I will see you on the next episode. If you ever have any requests for topics, please let me know. I'm always open to doing requests. And if you're listening to this on the pod, please leave a review and a rating. It helps get it to more people, and you are safe to trust yourself. And if you don't know how to trust yourself, that's okay too. I will help you with that. So reach out. Mwah. Love you guys, and I'll see you soon.